Hey guys, Dov here, back with another unit highlight, and today we're taking a look at another unit very near and dear to me, Gorebeast Chariots. You should already know by now in this series, but if you don't, I'm a big fan of these armor-piercing chariots. The higher-tier armor-piercing chariots, if well microed, they can be absolutely devastating. Random Nicks showed this in the Eternal Challenger League against, I believe it was Anticity, and Get Up Mule here has decided to take some inspiration for that. Instead of the High Elf Lion Chariots, he's got, of course, the Gorebeast Chariots. These Chaos Ape things, armor piercing damage, 80 charge, 130 armor in particular is very solid. Decent HP as well. Very good stuff. He's got two Shaggoths here, plus Big Bird as well, all getting some glittering robe. Also got the Demon Spew here for some cleanup on Zombie Isle 12, aspiring champions to help take on ghosts and provide a little extra leadership should Big Bird go down, and a bunch of Marauders up against a flying goon squad here, flying gun squad even. Ha! See what I did there? Luther Harkon and a couple of gun bats. We've also got over here typical coast zombie line bombers. Only one pistol. We've also got, of course, Lore of Vampires, a couple Sirens. We do have some mass to try and stop Chariots, potentially, Lamprey's Revenge, but only one of them. And there's a lot of mass and danger here from this build. And I actually really like Get Up Mule's build here, and it's one of the big reasons why is target overload, which is a concept I've talked a little bit about on this channel. But against the shooting factions, like, you know that this flying goon squad is, or gun squad even, is probably going to be a thing in this matchup. So you bring Big Bird, he is going to take a lot of damage even still with his missile resistance though, and so you've got the aspiring champions just to provide leadership if he does go down. Likewise, you've got these two big Shaggoths here that are also very dangerous targets for the Vampire Coast. So these three Gorebeast Chariots, although they are relatively expensive high-value targets, kind of slip by unnoticed. And that's also true of the Demon Spew here as well. Likewise, the Chariots will take almost no damage from the bombers, and they'll be able to just run shop over this entire infantry line if left unchecked. And given that the Crabs and the Gun Bats are going to have to be dedicated to Big Bird and the two Shaggoths, these Chariots will be more or less free to run here. So we'll see. We're going to get a nice charge right in the face of these bombers. Beautiful damage there. And yeah, you see the bombs did basically no damage, and that's on account mainly of that 30 armor. Again, also these pistols doing relatively little there. Don't have any missile resistance. There's really not much going on here at all besides fear, actually. But just excellent stats all around. That's kind of name of the game for a lot of Chaos units, to be honest. But here, the Sirens and the Crabs are thrown in to stop up the Shaggoths. Big Bird's going to come in and use his magic damage to bunker bust this blob of Sirens, doing some really nice damage there. Also a beautiful Searing Doom dropping hot lead out of the sky, wrecking that blob of zombies as well. So pretty good so far. Obviously, if Harkon's still on the field, it's still a battle, and he's used up quite a bit of his ammunition already going after Sarthrel. He's giving himself Glittering Robe once again to help shrug off a little bit of damage. Most of these units do armor piercing though. You can see the aspiring champs still waddling out here. They are very slow, unfortunately. 32 speed. Actually not completely terrible for a unit that heavy, but yeah, slower than all the rest of these units. But let's get back to the Gorebeasts. Just absolutely smashing zombies, like grabbing them, straight up gorilla punching them in the face. Beautiful. I love the model of the Gorebeast. It's such a hilarious thing to look at. Very random. It'd be cool too if Chaos got like, you know how the High Elves have the unit of lions? It'd be really cool for Chaos to get like a unit of feral Gorebeasts that you could take. Maybe like 18 of them, similar role, kind of anti-infantry, like mobile shock unit. Maybe a little heavier armor, but slower than the lions. It'd be very, very cool. But regardless, the Gorebeast Chariots themselves doing a ton of damage here. You can see they also have decent sustained combat animations, which is true for a lot of these monster chariots, because the monsters themselves that are pulling the chariots actually do attack animations that are pretty impactful, often have a lot of splash targets. Whoops, get up and over the obelisk there. But yeah, Big Bird's still holding out for the time being. He is getting very low, and in fact does go down there to the Gunbat squad. And yeah, the Demon Spew up to 223 kills. They've been just slaughtering zombies all over the field, helping to grind through everything. And the Gorebeasts themselves racking up over 100 kills each. Oh yeah, easily over 100 kills each, so that's good stuff to see. The Sirens over here taking down the Aspiring Champions, gonna make a journey on over to the other side of the battlefield where the other Sirens are, but kind of hanging around this pocket too will be pretty decent for the time being, helping to provide some extra leadership to these Shaggoths and other units as they sustain the loss of Big Bird. And look at these Gorebeasts. Man, so cool. I love the usage of them here too in this particular build, like to have them take the damage of the bombs, to disrupt and just kill all of the bombs as well. Against a dedicated gun line build, I don't know how this would probably do okay, you know, given the amount of target saturation and everything. If the vampires have gone with, again, just like a handgunner line rather than the bombers, you might have a little bit harder time against a traditional like shielded infantry rush, but it would do better against these chariots. But because the meta in this matchup often revolves around that kind of shielded infantry rush, this is a good sort of mind game counterpick to that, right? The Shaggoths are going to get probably both taken out here, depending, I don't know, one of them might survive to the end to be able to challenge Harkon, and even as it is, I mean, the Gorebeasts probably couldn't take out Harkon by themselves, but with the Shaggoths in support, definitely. And, you know, I said both of them were going to go down. It's actually not, I guess, maybe Harkon, if he gets good engagements, could take both of them out, but the fact they're both on the field at this point, and then the Chariots can also use their mass to help pin Harkon on the ground, try and get a surround on him. They'll do some okay armor-piercing damage, too, especially if they were to cycle charge. But of course, right now, just providing the mass to be able to hold him up against the Shaggoths is the most important thing. And once the gun bats, oh, the Shaggoth just absolutely dancing right there. They got to thin out the gun bats perhaps a little bit first, but Harkon's not going anywhere. You can see the balance of power starts to tick more and more as the casters take damage and the gun bats take damage, and suddenly Harkon finds himself very much isolated. The Sirens over here still fighting. Again, the Aspiring Champs. I like to pick up like 1 or 2 Aspiring Champs in this matchup, counter Sirens, and to provide that extra leadership. But Coast Player's going to throw in the towel there. And big thanks to Get It Mule for sending that one in. Love this build. I might just steal this one, to be honest, for this matchup. But given, again, what people expect, which is perhaps like Shielded Chosen are honestly pretty decent in this matchup. Marauders and Chaos Warriors also pretty good, but Marauders do get detonated by Bombers, right? And just in general, Bombers make that infantry fight pretty rough. And with the shielded kind of gun line, oftentimes you're taking damage on your Lord gets sniped by the gun bats, and then they'll just start shooting, you know, the Chosen, and your Chosen can get cycle charged in the late game by Harkon and other things. So the mass, plus the low model count, and sort of the tankiness of the Chariots, the fact they don't take much damage at all from the Bombers, makes them a pretty ideal pick here. And I really like the usage of them with this kind of target saturation build. 320 kills at the end of the day for the Demon's View. Absolutely insane. I have made a video about Forsaken. If you guys haven't seen it, definitely go check that out. Talk a little bit about them in that video. But yeah, very fun stuff. I really like this build, as I said. Well played to the Vampire Coast player, of course. Let's take a look. I know I've compared these guys a little bit in previous videos, so we won't go too deep into it right now, but I definitely would say that the Gorebeast Chariot's an option that you should consider in a number of matchups. Coast there, in that particular build, is, I guess it definitely works, as we saw. I don't know, like I said, against a full handgunner line, maybe it wouldn't do as good, but then you could always mix in some other shielded units and probably still make it work, honestly, given the target saturation. But here, obviously, against the Dwarfs, they can be very strong as well. Even just in matchups where you might find heavy cavalry, like even against like Empire maybe, or other matchups where you might fight heavy cavalry, them supporting some other units, like, I don't know, I haven't really tested like Poison Dogs plus them versus Cav, but, you know, even just in theory supporting some infantry, kind of charging into the side of Cav units, they can do some okay damage. And just having the one, even just having one in a lot of matchups, I would say, like Greenskins too, you can run shop on a lot of their higher tier infantry with them, and as long as you keep them mobile, keep them away from your the Greenskins mobility, and even then, a lot of the Greenskins mobility will kind of just get killed by him, just in general, I'm a big fan to have this as kind of an anti-infantry tool. It can be a distraction tool as well. Like if you've got a lot of other large high-value targets, you can use this to kind of pull resources that might be dedicated to that away, right? Like if you've got like a Shaggoth, like we saw in that other build, maybe double Shaggoth, if your opponent dedicates the resources, their anti-large AP, to try and go after these Gorebeasts, to stop them up, then of course your Shaggoths can be free in other areas to run shop, and it's just kind of it's another threatening piece that when microed well, can do a lot of damage. It is relatively expensive, but you can definitely make it work. Yeah, Chariots do require a bit of micro, but the biggest thing is to just keep them charging. Like all ABC, always be charging. Try and, as I say, ping pong between different targets, or even just cycle charging a single target. But in general, just like hit one target and then immediately click a charge order onto another target. And the nice thing about the Gorebeasts and other, like I said, higher tier armor piercing kind of monster chariots, they do fight a little bit better in sustained combat, but especially against anything that has a halberd or even spears, you probably don't want to sit on top of them for too long. You can still charge into them, especially in the side and rear. But yeah, good stuff. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this one. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.